following is a presentation brought to you by the BL Networking Institute.
Hello. I would like to take this moment to give you a brief presentation on the Networking Institute. My name is Basile Lemba, and I'm the founder of the Networking Institute. I'm originally from Cameroon, Western Africa. I left when I was 14 and I went to France. I became an architect and started working as an architect. And shortly after that, as I was helping a non-profit organization, that organization came to me and told me they have a job for me at the headquarters in the US. I was surprised because I was not looking for a job. But since I liked what they were doing, I took them up on it and I moved up then to the US. I worked for that organization for about 10 years. 10 years into that, my parents retired in Cameroon. And as you well know, you may have this lifestyle, but if you do not plan your retirement, things can collapse. So then I started getting phone calls, emails from my family. So I stopped working and I moved up in Virginia where I started a business. Now you can imagine this was a serious challenge since I didn't know anyone. So I joined organizations, went to different events, but I kept telling people, I want to meet more people. See, because I need more people to build a business. I was a total transplant into the Northern Virginia area. So each and every connection has to be made for anything to happen. I was not sitting on a whole bunch of contacts or acquaintances. So then one day a lady came to me and said, you want to meet a lot of people? I said, yes. She said, there's a luncheon over there. There'll be 150 people there. My husband beat 150. I started thinking, 150 people, my God, and then I can get 30 to 40 business people. And I asked her how much it was. She said $150. I went, $150? In those days, I was going to free event or a fee for that, but $150, one single event. I don't know about that. But the possibility of getting 30 to 40 business cards was so strong that I paid the money. The day of the event, I get into my car, and then I get to the event, I get my badge, and I walked in. The room was jammed. You couldn't move. A voice came over the PA system. It says, have a seat, we are going to serve lunch. Literally, you squeeze where you could find a chair. And on came an MC. He introduced the keynote. The keynote grabbed the mic, but never let go. 2:00 came. People are leaving to go back to their work. And I go, wait a minute. 3 minutes later, the room was empty. And I was standing there with 3 business cards. I went. That's when I had my first realization about networking. I realized one of the things that was bugging me was the fact that you could go to some of those events, but never get the opportunity to network. A case in point, 150 attendees, 3 business cards. Now, that being said, it was a good day for the event producer. But for me as a guest, it was very miserable. So then I went to business people, some of them, 20 to 30. I surveyed them. I asked, when you go to an event, what do you want to see happening? I wrote that down. What is that don't want? I wrote that down. So I surveyed 20 to 30 business people and took their information and created a breakfast event. Okay, of which I have a picture here that I want to share with you so you can see what I'm talking about. There you have it. At this breakfast event, people came. We averaged about 50 business people. So they came. We went around. They had the opportunity to introduce themselves, each and every one of those persons. Name, company, and what they did. We had a little presentation, and we move into the main part of networking. All right. And you can see me in the background there. The way it works is this person here will talk to this one for 1 minute, and I'll hit the gong, and this person talk to the other one for 1 minute. And this person then move to the next chair. So the person you see here will go all the way around and talk one-on-one with 25 business people or more. Sometimes you had more than that. As a result, that person is going to collect about 20 business cards minimally. But we didn't end there. We send the complete list to all attendees, name, phone number, and email. The breakfast event meeting here was the beginning. We send them the list so they can follow up and continue. Actually, it says 21 years that when I started it, I was not planning to make a career out of it per se. But that event was so successful that we have to keep going doing it. And we're still doing it as we speak. Okay? Very well. One day, then a lady sitting over here talked to the other one, told her I'm in renovations, I do bath and kitchen and what have you. And I hit the gong. Was a turn of the other one to speak. And the other one simply said, oh, I did my kitchen 3 months ago. And the remaining 55 seconds, she sat there and said nothing else. That didn't go well. The other lady wound up very upset. She came to me after the event. She was very upset and tell me, well, I tell her everything that I do. And she did, I did my kitchen 3 months ago. Oh my God. Now we're back to where I was, where I went to an event, spent a lot of money, and wind up not being happy. So I couldn't have that happening. So then we decided to look into that. What we discovered is that the lady who said, I did my kitchen 3 months ago, it's just that she didn't know how to network. That's all. That's what it came down to. The other lady was very upset. She was thinking that the other lady was trying to be rude or didn't want to talk to her or was just ignoring her. But we found out she just didn't. That was quite a realization. Now, I talked to you about my origins, Cameroon, Europe, and here, because I want you to understand that when I was dealing with those people, I had no idea what they knew or not. I assume, much like you, I think that everybody knows how to network. So the idea that somebody did not know how to network was how do we get I couldn't tell. Actually, I was so shocked that I surveyed some business people, some of those coming at the event. I wanted to know if they knew how to network or if they learned how to network. So what I did is I first asked them, do you drive a car? Most of them say yes. How do you learn how to drive? They said, oh, number one, I went to driving school. Number two, somebody taught me. Number three, all of the above. Very good. And then I asked, do you network or attempt to network? And the answer was, of course I network. What kind of question is that? Of course I network. Very good. And then I got to the heart of the matter. And I asked, how did you learn how to network? And the answer was, number one, I just walked into the room. Number two, somebody pushed me into the room. And number three, all of the above. So it was clear. when it comes to driving a car, we go to driving school or learn how to drive. However, when it comes to networking, none of us has been to driving school. So then I thought maybe the people coming to our event did not know. So we went around bookstore, library, asking people for the know-how because we didn't want that same incident to happen again. So we're looking for knowledge that we could give to anyone so we don't have that problem ever again. And in doing so, we discovered the information there was either successful actions or opinion. But it was not really a science or a workable know-how we could give the people before we send them to the chairs so we don't wind up with somebody being upset. And realizing that there was no workable knowledge 20 years ago, that's how we started researching networking to codify it. All right? In doing so, naturally, over a period of 20 years, we discovered quite a bit of information. Some of them are here that I would like to share with you. The quality of your life is proportional to the quality of your networking. Okay? There's a lot of data behind that statement. I cannot unpack it and impart that to you or unpack it at this short briefing, but I'll happily do that anytime you want me to. That's one discovery. The other one is the amount of money you make is proportional to the quality of your networking. I was at Embark once and I met a very person there, celebrity on stage. The guy makes a lot of money actually, and what he does is he takes list A celebrities in Hollywood, take them to Brazil, introduce them to the project. He pays for everything, the flight, the food and transportation, show them the project, and just ask them to give them their testimonial in exchange. Okay, that was very impressive. I mean, the guy is very, very rich. But I was very impressed by his story. So when he finished, I ran out of the room to go and meet with him. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming for doing the presentation. It was very inspiring. And he asked me, and you, what do you do? So I was surprised because I'm coming to learn from him or acknowledge him. And I told him, well, we teach people how to network as easily as they drive their car so they get the client they want and make more money. And he looked at me and said, you should teach me how to network. Took me by surprise. So here you are, somebody's make beaucoup money, but he still understand the edge that he can get if he master networking. Okay, so that's the reality of the matter. Now then we have this information, we're giving it to people. At the end, all were happy, they were all beaming. And then this happened. The lady came to the breakfast event. After the breakfast event, she walked up to me. I'll never forget that day. I was standing near the podium. She looked at me dead in the eyes and told me, I need to talk to you. Call me this afternoon. She was not smiling. I was shaken because everything that was being done at the breakfast event was based on the survey. Okay, it was not what I wanted or what I liked. I asked them, they said, this is what we want. I put it together, and most of them was happy. All of them, actually. We never had anybody upset particularly. So I went to 20 times. See if I use a word that could have been offending anybody at all. I thought maybe she didn't like the coffee or maybe the breakfast event. I could really not put my finger on anything. But trust me, it was so much of a pressure that I kid you not, I was waiting for 12 o'clock to get that over it. In fact, I was watching the clock. And I remember she was screaming. I had to keep the phone away. She went. Do you know how much money I spend in networking? Do you know how much money I spend in networking organization? And no one ever told me how to network. was I relieved. So found out she was upset because, as you can see here, she's a franchise consultant. She has been selling franchises. But she also noticed that success of franchise owners were their abilities to network. So she has been going around and around looking for a way to network because think about it, she sells those franchises to people and later see them filing for bankruptcies. So it was anyone. So she has been going around and around wherever, spending a whole lot of money looking for a way to network, but could never find it. But when she walked to our breakfast event, because before we get people in the chair, we'll make sure we group the fundamentals of networking. Okay, so she was grooved in then on the fundamental of networking. For us, she was like, she realized that this is what networking is. For her, networking was finally spelled out, and that's what she became mad. I must add to that, mad that she spent all this money left, right, and everywhere and anywhere, could never find a solution. But she walked into a breakfast event where she was not expecting anything at all, and for her, networking was spelled out. That's when we realized, oh my God, it's not just a breakfast event here. That situation is worldwide. And that's how we started putting together conferences, coaching programs, and what have you. All right. Now, let me get back. I want to remember again the first picture that I show you where you have a lot of people in the room. So at that breakfast event, 50%, 50 of the attendees were first timers. Meaning what? We get new people all the time, every time. So to solve networking, we have to works for one and all, not just the realtor or the insurance or whatever. It has to work for one and all. It has to work 100%. Okay? Very well. So then we ask ourselves at the beginning of the research, that was 20 years ago, we ask ourselves, what is the thing that most people can do? What is the thing that most people can do? Well, most people drive a car. In fact, according to the US Department of Transportation, 91% of the adult population have a driver license. Okay? 91% have a driver license. And I wouldn't be surprised if you yourself watching this video right now don't know how to drive. Very well. Now, how do you learn? How do you drive? Well, let's take a look. Ignition key number 1, gear shifting number 2, pedal to the metal. In that order, all the times, all of us, every time. If we violate this sequence, the car will not move. Very well. So then we say to ourselves, we have the 1, 2, 3 to drive a car. Okay? All we have to do is to figure out a 1, 2, 3 to get clients. If we do, then we have it made. And that's what we have researched in the last 20 years plus. And I'm happy to announce that we cracked the code. What do I mean by that? Here you go. How do you get a client? Networking number 1, 2 promotion, and 3 sales in that order all the time, every time. Allow me to explain. The survey was done at the Chamber of Commerce. It was a networking event. And people will ask, who is here to sell something? All the hands went up. Who is here to buy something? All the hands went down. Well, nothing wrong in selling, but that tells you the mindset of people sitting at a networking event. They are in fact thinking or acting, do not sell me, I sell you. Do not sell me, I sell you. That's the gist of the conversation. That's the gist of the noise you hear in the room. Since they were there to sell, not to network. Now, if you have been in business more than 30 minutes, you probably hear the phrase, the elevator speech. Somebody probably walked up to you and say, what is your elevator speech? Or prepare your elevator speech, or whatever the case may be. Right? So when we say elevator speech, we're talking about promotion, since you're telling me or I am telling you what I do or what I do or what my company does. So that is promotion. So then we come to understand in our society, when people say networking, they are thinking about sales covertly or overtly or promotion. We never really graduated to networking, or we just gloss over it. But really, what we're interested in is giving our elevator speech, or better yet, selling our product or services. Not that this be wrong, but it's just that there is a sequence that is in place. Over 8 years ago, I was hosting a networking conference here in an hotel. At 3 p.m., this chart was on the screen. One guy screamed loud, "Oh my God!" He startled the whole room. In fact, all the attendees answered in one voice, "What?" They couldn't understand why a grown man is screaming at 3 p.m. in the afternoon so loud when really nothing at all happened in the room. He stood up. He said, "I'm with the government. We buy sales program, we buy promotions program, but we never bought any networking program." Arguably, the customer number one in the world, the United States government, he was telling us, never bought any networking programs. But there's reason for that. There was nothing to buy. The subject never existed, as we realized ourselves 20 years ago. Because all that is sitting out there is successful actions or opinion. I hit on this in 2008. As you well know, the market crashed. I walked into a networking event. I'm talking to a financial planner. All right. So I didn't know anything about the market or whatever was happening. So I'm asking question after question after question. I really was curious. I want to know. I was very much interested. And at one point, I asked him a question, but he never answered that question. But instead, he asked me, "And you, what do you do?" I was surprised. I was confused because I'm asking him a question. I said, "I'm asking you a question, asking me a question. How does that work?" So I told him what I did. That guy turned around and sold my product to 20 different business people who all bought what I was selling. 20. I walked into the office and the guy would tell me, the customer would tell me, "I want this, I want this, I want this." I was just taking order. I go to the next guy. They say, "I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this." 20. That's what I started understanding the mechanism I'm sharing with you right now. This is how the game is played. You walked up to somebody. By the way, the purpose of networking is to create acceptance. It is not to promote yourself or even sell a product. It is to create acceptance. So you walked up to somebody, you show interest to the person. Sincere interest, that is. Human beings react in kind. So if you show interest to them, now they want to know what you do. This is where you tell them what you do. If they want to buy it, great. If not, that's fine. In fact, in our research, we discover that talk to 10 people, 9 out of 10 will not buy your product. You talk to 10 people, 1 become your customers on average. You talk to 10, 1 becomes a customer. What does that mean? This means the science of networking is how do you handle the 9? Since that is 90% of your time, 90% of your energy, 90% of your money, is how do you handle the 9? Okay, so you show interest here, and then you tell them what you do. If they want to buy it, great. But because you have created acceptance here, as I mentioned, then at this level over here, we say the person in front of you is the tree. Behind them, there is a forest. So you share with them, and then because you have created acceptance, they take you into their tribe. They introduce you to people who could use your service. That's how the game is being played. That's how you get client 100% of the time or even more. Because considering that person got me 20 clients, so I'm already way over the top. And you have to understand there's an unlimited number of resources over here. The people pound at the person in front of them, but that is just one cell. There are 20 or more sitting over there. So when you do this way, you can maintain your relationship with the people. They want you around. In the long run, they may even buy from you, but then they have no problem introducing you to the people who could use your service. All right? We took this and broke it to 5 basic skills. I'm going to come on back to the correct mindset. Ideal client. A lot of us talk to people who have no business talking to. Here, we teach you how to define your client and also find out where they are. I was on the show once and I was told, the host told me, well, you are a networking guru. Where should people go to network? I said, that's not the answer. Oh, that's not the question. The question is, who is your ideal client? And where they go, you go. We groove people in here to spend 80 to 90% of their time of promotion or networking where the ideal client are. It's mathematical. If you talk to 10 people and one of them was your ideal client, you may wind up with 10% of the revenues. If you talk to 10 people and 9 of them are your ideal clients, you will wind up with 90% of the revenues. So it's only wisdom that you define your ideal client and that you spend your time there. That's step 2. Step 3, we teach you how to talk to people. And by the way, everything we teach works 100% of the time. I didn't say 99.99. I'm telling you 100%. Why? Because our mindset was, anybody's coming to our room, as I mentioned with the first picture. Number 1. Number 2, our mindset was also, we cannot get you into the car and hope that the brakes work. They have to work. So everything we're teaching you over here works 100% of the time. Now, when it comes to contacting people, we have a 4-step formula we teach you. And that 4-step formula actually comes down to coming up with an image that you communicate to the people you're talking to. I'll give you an example. There's a chiropractor who was part of a group. They'll ask him, who should we send your way? His answer was, anybody who has a spine. Well, good luck. Grab the waitress. She has a spine. People really couldn't get business to him. We sat down and worked with him, and he came up with this. If you ever see somebody standing up and they put their 2 hands on the table to help them stand up, it means that that person has a bad back. So he went back to his group and told them, if you see somebody standing up and they put their 2 hands on the table to help them stand up, it means that that person has a bad back. Take that information and give it to me. And from there, they flooded him with business. Whereas before that, he was getting strictly nothing. Okay? Now, follow up. We all agree when you meet somebody, that very first day, they don't necessarily whip out the credit card or open the checkbook. What does that mean? We got to teach you follow up. Now, the situation is 97% of the business people will openly admit that they are challenged with follow up. I've been doing this for over 20 years. People come to me year after year, the same people, mind you. Basile, my problem is follow up. Basile, my problem is follow up. Basile, my problem is follow up. Follow up is an art, a science, and an organization. We teach you that over here so that you can follow up with people easily and smoothly and you don't experience rejection or they don't ignore your call or email. It's an exact, precise science. Done that way, you won't have a problem. Done that way, it leads to people open to taking a look at your product and buying it. Closing is an element we can debate that it may or may not belong to networking, but we put it there intentionally because we didn't want to have somebody say, I took a networking class, but they don't know how to close. So now the person, we have everything from beginning to end, or as we put it, from alpha to omega. Okay. Now let me go back to this point that I left out to begin with, the correct networking mindset. The truth is, you may find some of the knowledge here anywhere outside there, but we made it into a whole, a complete system. I mentioned to you that I was an architect. Okay. One of the things you learn in architecture school is that if you ever build a house, you want to make sure that the foundation are solid. Otherwise, it won't work. So then, in our high-level research, we discover, interestingly, that the correct networking mindset, the first step here is 80% of your networking success, 80. The rest of it is 20%. Do you need to master this? Absolutely. But you need to have the correct networking mindset. Thanks God, we broke it down where it does not take much for somebody to really master it. Okay? Let me explain it to you. Let's say you are in a theater. There's an actor on stage. Behind him, there is a director. You don't see the director or hear the director. Okay? The director tells the actor, be a janitor. The actor goes in motion, and you look at the actor and say, I know that guy is a janitor. Good. Now, the directors tells the actor, be a doctor. He goes in motion. You look at him and say, I know that guy is a doctor. Very well. What happened then? When the directors tells the actor, be a janitor or a doctor, the actor switches his mindset. From there on out, everything they do align with that specific profession. And it's undeniable. You can see it. Yeah, that's the guy is a janitor. Oh, that guy is a doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to discover there is such a thing as the correct networking mindset. When you have that in place, the rest fall like a domino. But when you don't, it is as if you were standing next to your shoes. You are uncomfortable, but so are the people you're dealing with. So you understand now how this is the fundamentals of all fundamentals. That knowledge there at the step number 1 is a complete total trademark. Nobody else has it. You could run around and learn about ideal client contact, follow-up, and closing, all that perfectly. But you'll never achieve mass networking mastery unless you have the correct networking mindset. It's an impossibility because the foundation, see, is not in place. And that's the code that we cracked, really. Everybody network on this planet. But how many people have a networking license? We deliver to you the networking license. After that, you can network with anyone, anywhere. I'm not saying that just to say, by the way. Our program has been accredited by George Mason University. So now college students can take it. It's interesting because I cannot tell you the number of times I talk to parents and they tell me, do you have something for teenagers? Do you have something for teenagers? Now, yes, we do. Anybody now can take our class through university. That's not all. Professionals such as mortgage, realtors, architects, and everybody else can now take the class and have it count as a continuing education credit. Okay, a lot of those came to me, but sometimes they have other classes. They have to do continuing education credit. They have 40 hours or how many they have, or 40 credit. Now we're making it easy for one and all. CPA, bookkeepers, and everybody else can now master networking and get the continuing education credit as part of it. That's just wonderful. Okay, now I want to share with you here a couple of testimonials. Here is the mortgage officer, an executive, by the way. The way he have found out about us is that we were hosting a conference, and he signed up. 2 days later, he buys 2 more tickets. Frankly, I panic. I found his number and call him. I say, "You made a mistake. You already bought a ticket." And he said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm bringing 2 of my staff members." Now, mortgage or lenders are paid on commission. What does that mean? That means that they are trained heavily because the livelihood depends on their skills. If they don't sell, they have nothing. So they are very much trained. But that person noticed the networking class, came and attended it, and then he wrote, "I was able to learn techniques I have been hoping to learn from for years." The key word for us is hoping. In spite of all the heavy-duty training that they put the lending officer for, and this guy is not young, he's not young, he has been in the industry for over 20 years, still has questions about networking. Understandable, networking was never codified until the BL Networking Institute was created. Okay, so he found there the answers to the question they always had. And here is a CPA, 30-year CPA. Okay, I cannot tell you the number of professionals I run into who tell me, "Where was you 20 years ago? Where was you 30 years ago?" And he's here, he says, he will recommend the program to new and more seasoned business people. And I add, it's worth way more than he paid for. Remember, the amount of money you make is proportional to the quality of your networking. Okay? Here's another lady. At the highest level of one of our high-level training, we teach them a skill, get them to practice it, and get them to do it right then and there. We want them to practice it so we know that they can do it. And we want them to do it right then and there because we want them to know that they can do it. See, because a line of thought is, if they can do it in the lab, they can do it in life. So we want them to practice it so they know themselves that they can do it. So it's not just some ideas. For us, study is theory and practical. It's not just somebody giving you information. And you will find that all of my materials are very simple, easy, doable. They are designed that way. It's something everybody can do. Just like most people can drive a car, with our networking know-how, any one of you can become a master at networking. I'm not asking, I am telling. You had a track to run on. You have a 1, 2, 3 to drive a car. You never had a 1, 2, 3 to network. And that's what we researched and codified in the last 20 years. Here's another testimonial related. Early on in our program, she increased her production by 300%. At the end of the program, I was curious to see what that number has become, but she never mentioned anything. In the final interview, where we're going over everything with her, I'm listening to her. I'm hoping she's going to mention something about it, but she never did. But instead, I see how her looks turn off. So she's going to look trail off the other side. I let her because she was lost into her thought. And then she come on back and looked at me and said, "You know what I got out of the program?" I said, "No." She said, "I found myself. My whole life, people have been telling me what to do. Now I'm going to do my own thing." And she went and opened her own spa in Florida. I couldn't quite grasp what happened there, frankly, because she was excited about it, but I was trying to find out what the 300% was. So then later on, years later, he came back to me. I was able to fully grasp that. Remember, when I tell you everything we teach works 100% of the time. Very well. But while we're doing that, we are giving people the truth of the matter. And the person armed with the truth is unstoppable. She said it here. I can honestly say that this course has totally changed my life. It has helped me overcome my fear and given me more self-confidence. I am now doing things I would never have thought possible. Think about it. How much is that worth? So way more than you're hoping for. So we were doing the research from the viewpoint of how do you get client. But because it was based on the basic laws, the program turned into a personal development. So they gain both. They get the knowledge to get the client and also the personal development, which is fundamental when you come to think about it. Because before you talk about your product, you have to have the presence to get accepted. Before you eat, you got to get to the table. The programs give you the personal development to get you to the table so that you can talk about your business. All right. The last testimony I would like to share with you is this one. It's a training we did during the pandemic. The story about this one is that this attendee was off screen the entire time. I never saw his face. The picture you see there, we find it online. Of course, that's very challenging for the trainer because you're trying to track with the student. Where are they? Do you need to explain? Do you lose them? You have nothing to work with. More often than not, everything he must not be interested since everybody else was practically on camera. So at the end of the event, we say, well, please send us your testimony. I'd love to know what you get out of the program. To be candid, when I saw his name coming, I thought maybe he was upset. He didn't like the program. That's why it didn't come on camera. And I started reading the testimonial. And he says, this is the best program I've ever attended on how to network. There were dozens of great tips, techniques, approaches, etc. presented that I have never heard of, even though I have been networking for decades. The information provided was also very detailed. And carry on talking about me there, which is fine. And then he said, I highly recommend this program to all business people, salespeople, entrepreneurs, managers, executives, students, job hunters, etc. And he said, by the way, many of the networking ideas presented at his event will also work in non-business and social situations. Allow me to admit, when I saw the name of the guys, I was worried. But when I read the testimonial, I became happy. Okay. For us, it's a satisfaction for hard work in codifying networking, doing whatever needs to be done so that now anyone can network as easily as they drive their car. Sometimes when I make that statement, people wonder, well, how is that possible? How could I? Well, let's say you get to Chicago. You get at the airport and you want to rent a car. You go to the car rental place at the airport and you say, I would like to get a Lexus. They say, so sorry, ma'am or sir, we don't have a Lexus. You say, great, excellent. Well, get me a Toyota. And then they say, sorry, ma'am, we don't have a Toyota. Now you start getting upset. And then you ask them, what do you have? They say, we have a Ford. And you say, give me the keys. They give you the keys, off you go. The point? It doesn't matter what car it is, you can drive it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have good news for you. We brought networking up to that level, whereas it doesn't matter who you're talking to. It could be the president of country or the garbage man. You handle one and all successfully anyway. We have a whole slew of testimonials of people who've changed lives dramatically. Businesses succeeding, people retiring using this knowledge. We are no longer on trial. George Mason University has accredited our program. All that is left right now for you is for you to take advantage of that knowledge. Networking has never been codified. It was never codified. We know why. And I won't go over that right here, right now. But the fact of it is, today, on this planet, any single person can network as easily as they drive the car. We took this information and broke it in 3 different levels. One is the Networking for Profit class, which is a 5 hours program. where we cover the 5 fundamentals I mentioned to you. Okay. The second one is networking for profit coaching, where we go over all these 5 elements and get you to practice them, much like being in a car with the instructor. And we give you specific event. We have 20 years of experience in networking. We give you specific event where you can go and find your ideal client. All right. The networking for profit mastery is where we cover the past materials, the one that are covered there in the theory and coaching. But we also have 3 deep dive conference. One on how to get leads, a second one how to follow up, and the third one how to do closing. So you become master in those 3 things. That's not all. I mentioned being an architect. The best architects were made through apprenticeships. So we have apprenticeships over here for you as well, where we go with you at networking event to make sure that you master all aspects of networking. The last step at the mastery level is that we work with you and find what we call the center of influence. These are people who are in communication with the potential client. We select them with you, we train them so they can send you clients regularly. So the end goal really at the mastery level is that you work less and get more done. You'll be happy to know that we have a 30 days money back guarantee. We want nothing but happy customers. So you can start any program with us if you're not happy within 30 days. You don't have to explain. We give you back the money. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back here. What is not on this screen is the fact that we also, quite in addition, survey the person, or we can tailor a program to an individual or a corporation. We just did a training right now with Hyatt Hotel and another one with NIH. We tailor the program, but I mean by that, we have people, as you know, at this point in time, as we cut this video, a lot of people going to transition. So we tailor the program to help people in transition looking for a job. So that knowledge, we can adapt it to fit a specific situation. What you are looking at here is our 3 standard programs. Now, we also created another program that we call the Networking Champion Membership. That one is a program where people pay a monthly fee, small fee, and then we help them too. I just want to communicate that so you know all the offerings available to you. Okay, so there you have it, a summary of what we do at the BL Networking Institute. So you have some information following this. Contact us. All we want is help you. We've done this work over the 20 years. Our satisfaction and joy is seeing you taking advantage of it and growing your business or enhancing the relationships. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and bye for now.
To learn more about upcoming events and programs from the BL Networking Institute, call or text 571-263-4190 or visit us online at blnetworking.net.